to another Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video. Today's one is for kit number 71, which is called Marshmallow Hugs. It's a really cute set this month. It's got a gorgeous mug design in there with a spoon, obviously marshmallows. It's got like whipped cream, a drippy sort of piece that can look like melted whipped cream coming down the side of the mug. And it's a really gorgeous set that will combine with, I can't remember the name of them, but there's been a couple of sets, possibly like a special showcase kind of one, and might have been a stamp club as well actually. I can't remember the names of them. If I do remember them, I'll have put them up here while I've been talking. But there's tons of other tonic die sets that these would go and work well with, or you could bring in fun little characters to use with them as well. They don't have to just be standalone coffee mugs and stuff. They can be maybe a planter for some gorgeous florals that you have got, with some lovely foliage coming out of them and gorgeous large flowers. You could maybe do large stems coming out of them for a taller card and have the flowers on the top and the cup at the bottom. Loads of different ways that you could use the elements from this kit. Obviously all of my samples are just using the elements from this kit, but definitely mix and match them with other things that you have as well. So this month I actually have the little leaflet that all of you guys will get when you buy your kit, but I never get this little leaflet. So actually it's really nice that you actually get this in a kit. It tells you everything that you're getting in there, what the stamp and die set are called, all of the cardstock names, all of the different Nuvo products that you're getting in here. It actually gives you a list of everything, and they do still have the numbering system on there as well, which is nice. So it's kit number 71. So that's the little leaflet that you've got this month, with some gorgeous examples on here. I presume they're made by Leo in the craft room, possibly Karen or Alison as well, but gorgeous samples on there showing you how to use some of the elements from the kit. And then we also have in here a bonus thank you gift as well. There's a leaflet in there that I'll tell you all of the information about. I left it in the wallet, but I'll tell you all the information about that when we get to that. But this is your bonus thank you gift that until stocks last, you'll be getting one of these automatically added to your craft kit. So a lovely set of A6 cards and envelopes. I don't know why they call it US A6, but it is a UK A6 kind of a size, so it would work perfectly for any of you who like to cut your A4 card into quarters and use that as a card front. They'll work perfectly for that, and they're in the ivory white colour, which is just a slight off-white kind of tone. That's white card next to it, so you can see it's not quite as yellowy as a proper ivory, but it's just a bit yellowier than white card, more like a watercolour card kind of colour, that sort of colour. And they're really high quality, they're card blanks and envelopes. The cards are 300 GSM and the envelopes are 120 GSM, so really lovely, and you get 10 of them in there, 10 cards, 10 envelopes. And as I always say in all of these videos, if you don't like making smaller cards and you prefer to make bigger cards, then just utilise the cardstock from these. If you don't like making cards onto cream card blanks, like I'm not that keen on that, I prefer to work on a white card blank, then again just utilise the cardstock for other things. Use the envelopes to create some memory books with, or it doesn't really matter if you pair a cream envelope with a white card. I don't think anybody's really going to go, hey, you put a cream envelope with my white card. I don't think they're really going to mind. Or you can just gift them to somebody as well. It's quite a nice gift. You could give them a few different bits and pieces. Maybe you could stamp on a lot of these cards, make up some scenes for them, give them some colouring pencils or something. Someone who's not a proper crafter, who just likes to do something in the evening maybe. So lots of ways of using the cards and envelopes that you're getting as an extra free gift. That's not even part of the kit, that's just an extra. Then let's have a look at what is inside our gorgeous bag of goodies. And if you were watching my up close video on the memory book die set that came out as part of birthday week recently, this is the bag that I used on the front of that Craft Perfect swatch kind of memory book, using the actual bag from the Tonic Craft Kit. So don't throw these away. You could use them to put bits and pieces in, or you can utilise them as like a pattern paper as well, and that's where I got the Craft Perfect from there too. I just snipped off the word Craft Perfect and used that, but you could also make a Nuvo catalogue as well. So you could even do a small tonic one and maybe have all of your sentiments and which set they're in, so you can go and find them, because a lot of tonic sets, like their three-dimensional boxes, have gorgeous sentiments hidden within them, but you can't always remember what set whichever sentiment you're thinking of was in. So if you had like a memory book that you created and you die cut all of your sentiments out, stuck them in, wrote what die set they're in, it might be a nice way of keeping track of where those sentiments and stuff are. So definitely utilise your bags. I know I've already said that quite a few times, but now I actually showed a project using it, I'm going to say it again. So all of the items that we have got in this month's kit, I can actually refer to my little leaflet rather than looking on my phone. We have got, let's go with the first thing, Glimmer paste, Shooting Stars. So this is the gorgeous silver version of their Glimmer paste, and it's in the new formulation, which is in the hexagonal based pots. So if you buy any Glimmer paste from other retailers, maybe they're getting rid of stock or have reduced it or something, the hexagonal based ones are the new formulation. I did do a full video on the new formula of the Glimmer paste that came out a year or so ago now, but this is the new formulation, and this one is called Shooting Stars, and it's a beautiful silver tone. I don't know if you can really see it inside the pot. I've used it on a few different projects, but really beautiful silver tone for your Glimmer paste. You can use it through your stencils, and it doesn't dry as quickly as the old formulation. So if you've tried Glimmer paste before years ago, and you found you got annoyed because it dried really quickly on your stencils before you could properly wash it off, this doesn't dry as quickly. This takes much longer to dry, so you're going to need to leave your projects longer to dry as well, but it also means that you can clean up much easier. You don't have to rush, and it's really nice for, you know, leisurely crafting. You don't have to feel like you've got a rush to be able to clean something off. You can go at your own pace, really, which is nice. So you've got your Glimmer paste, and this can be spread on through a stencil just randomly, haphazardly. You can water it down a little bit and splat with it. You can tap it on to like die cuts and stuff. So many different ways of using your Glimmer paste, and I've got a few of them in the cards that I've shown, and I haven't filmed it yet, but I think this month's tutorial that goes along with this kit, I'm going to try and show you the grouting technique, and use some of the Glimmer paste and the embellishment mousse from this kit to do the grouting kind of technique, but with die cuts rather than embossing folders. It's usually done with embossing folders, but I do love to do it with die cuts as well. So that is the Glimmer paste. Then the next thing that we're getting is a full size, that's a full size as well, full sized pot of the Nuvo embellishment mousse in Bermuda pink. So I think this came out in the Coral Skies colour trend, which I keep calling the Blue Blossom colour trend because it was a similar kind of colour scheme, but it's the Coral Skies colour trend, and it's a gorgeous pink colour, Bermuda pink. So it's a really gorgeous, like a blush pink kind of a colour tone. Really pretty, this one. And this is a regular embellishment mousse, so you can use it all sorts of different applications. You don't particularly want to apply heat to it. Nothing will really happen. If it's really wet, maybe you might get a bubbling kind of effect if you heat it really closely, but it's not meant to be heated. The expanding mousse is meant to be heated because it will expand with heat, but the normal embellished mousse, the crackle mousse and the chalk mousse aren't meant to be heated. So sort of leaving them to air dry will give the best results with them, and you can put them through a stencil, you can apply them haphazardly, you can water them down, turn them into pearlescent watercolours, you can splatter with them, paint with them, all sorts of different things. You can even dilute some of this with a little bit of warm water and put it in a spray bottle and create your own mica-y kind of mists out of them as well. So lots of different techniques that you can do with the Nuvo embellishment mousse, and as I said, I think this month's tutorial video is going to be my sort of grouting die cut kind of technique that I will use this in as well. So that'll be tomorrow's video. Then we're also getting a full-sized Nuvo drop, which is the Simply White, which used to be called Gloss White. It is just a gloss drop that's called Simply White now. I'm pretty sure it used to be called Gloss White. The original bottles said that on them. So this is the gorgeous Nuvo drop, a really lovely pure white with a gorgeous glossy finish to it, which again, Nuvo drops can be used in so many different ways. You can just use them to create your little domed, like enamel dot kind of embellishments. You can sort of more draw with them if you want. You can spread them across your background. You can tap them onto die cuts. You could use them kind of like a glossy accents kind of thing, using and maybe trace over your die cuts to give them that raised kind of finish. You can do your squishy backgrounds with it, you can combine it with all sorts of different things, you can change the colour of it. There's so many different ways of using a Nuvo crystal drop. If you think of a way of using it, it'll probably work for that way, so just give it a go and see what you can create. And also with the Nuvo crystal drops, don't forget you can buy those fine tip applicators now as well, and they do fit on the Nuvo drops as well, and I do have one on my white bottle too, because it's great for doing any like detailed work. Maybe you're doing snow on a card and you want fine and thick sort of applications of the dots to be falling snow in the background. Instead of having to adjust the pressure on try and make tiny little dots with the nozzle of a normal Nuvo drop, you can switch between different bottles and have a fine tip nozzle on one of your bottles as well. I don't do that for all of my colours, I just do it for black, white, I think I've done them for the metallics now, silver and gold, but yeah, and the clear as well. It's nice to just have a fine tip nozzle on some of your bottles of Nuvo drops. So that's the full size bottle of the Nuvo Simply White drop. Then we also have a reel of ribbon. So this is the Glacier grey colour, which is a really lovely light grey colour, and you're either getting the 3mm or the 9mm. So I've got the 3mm width, which is the narrower, or you might be getting the 9mm in there, but you can use both of them interchangeably to create like little hanging tags for decorations, for using as gift tags, for just tying a lovely bow on your project, for wrapping around your card, all sorts of different ways that you can use your ribbon. And it's just always nice to have an extra spool of ribbon. If you've bought the ribbon before but maybe you haven't used it that much because you don't want to use it up, having an extra spool of one colour might encourage you to use the ribbon, and then you'll be like, oh, actually I do really love using it in this specific way, and then you've got all the other colours to play with as well. Or you can just buy them individually on the website if you like this one and you want to use some more of their gorgeous double-sided satin ribbon as well. So we've got a roll of that, either 3mm or 9mm, and you get 5 meters on their rolls as well, so it does go a long way. Then you're also getting a full-sized bottle of Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. So if you've never tried their Nuvo Deluxe adhesive before, you've got a full-size bottle. And also if you wanted to buy the fine precision nozzles, they fit on the glue bottle as well. They come in packs of 2, so you could buy one and put one on each of these from the kit as well. But it's a lovely white glue that dries relatively quickly and dries clear as well, so really lovely kind of glue to use. I do prefer to use it decanted into a smaller bottle with a finer nib on rather than putting the fine nib on my large bottle, just because I prefer a small bottle in my hand rather than a larger bottle. But I do obviously keep my one off to the side, which is right here, the one I've been using, so when I'm doing like mats and layers and stuff, I've got the sort of larger nozzle to glue all of those elements on with as well. So it's quite nice to have a couple of bottles. Maybe you've only got one bottle, it's quite nice to have a second one on the go, so you can have different nibs on them, or you can use one as your decanting bottle and decant it into a smaller pot with a finer nib on as well, whichever you prefer really. But lovely to have a full-sized bottle of this in the kit as well. And then another adhesive thing we've got in this kit is the Nuvo glue pen, which is the medium tip of the glue pen, and it is a flat tip as well. I feel like I must have one of these open somewhere, but I couldn't see it on my desk, so I haven't opened this one, but I'll open it just to show you what it's like. I won't prime it because I presume I have got one somewhere else, but that is the nib that's on here. I think it's probably about a 5mm sort of flat nib on there. So to activate these, just like with a Nuvo glitter marker, you will press down this nib and then you can put the lid back on, shake it, keep pressing it until the whole of the little felt tip fills with adhesive. And then when you're using it, you can use it straight away and use it as an adhesive to stick things together, or you can let it dry or go tacky. Maybe not, I don't know if you can let it completely dry or it just goes tacky. What does it say on here? No, it doesn't actually say on here, but I'm pretty sure you can use it, let it go tacky, and then you can use things like glitter or gilding flakes or all sorts of things like that on it as well. So it's a nice thing to get in your kit to experiment with, and you can also use it for finer die cuts as well. I do find I get in a mess if I try to use a glue pen for finer die cuts, but I know a lot of people do get on with glue pens for their finer die cuts and stuff as well. But it's just nice to have one, isn't it? Because you never know when you might need something different. Perhaps you want a wiggly line of gilding flakes coming from a balloon or something as the string. You know, having it in a glue pen is much simpler than, you know, having to squeeze it out of a bottle and wait for a massive globby amount of glue to dry or something. It's quite nice to have a little thin applicating pen kind of system for adding your glue as well. So you've got a medium Nuvo glue pen. So if you've never tried one of those before, you can give that a go. They do also do a much larger one, and they also do that we've had relatively recently, the precision one, which has like a ball bearing kind of tip to it, and you can like squeeze it and get a puddle out, or you can just draw with it again. So yeah, nice to have in your stash. And then we also get a pencil case in here as well. So they've had these storage pouches for a while, and there's multiple different sizes. There's this size, which is classed as the pencil case pouch. Then there's also A4 and also 12 by 12 as well, which are larger than A4 and 12 by 12, so they fit A4 things or 12 by 12 things inside of them. They're really, really useful. They're a really sturdy sort of pocket. They're smooth plastic, but they've got this netting on the inside, and I think it's smooth on the, yeah, so the netting is kind of trapped between or inside the plastic to make it really strong and durable, and they're fantastic. I use these quite a lot when I'm taking bits and pieces around the house and stuff, and I don't want to drop loads of bits and pieces or let Pumpkin get hold of anything. Keeping it in a nice little pouch like this is really handy, and the fact that we've got a pencil case a size is really lovely too. You can have your glue in there, you can put your glue pen in there, you can have a Nuvo drop with you, you know, take it all with you on the go. So a really lovely little pencil case there. But you can also use these, even though it's classed as a pencil case, you can also use it for extra backgrounds that you've done perhaps, or larger die cuts of things, like maybe if you're making tons of different boxes or something, you could have multiple little pouches like this with all of the elements for them until you get round to gluing them all together. So it's just nice for storing bits and pieces. So it's really lovely that they've given us one of these in the kit as well. So that is all of your Nuvo elements. Then let's move on to the Craft Perfect elements. So I move the box out of the way. We've got all of our cardstock in here. So this month we have 3 of the textured Craft Perfects. We have got Arctic Blue, Bright White and Coral Pink for the 3 different colours. They look really lovely together. It kind of looks like a subtle kind of Union Jack sort of colour, or like patriotic colours, with like a different take on red, white and blue, which is really lovely. So you've got those 3 colours. Then you also have a sheet of the satin mirror card called Silky Sky, which is really gorgeous. I absolutely adore this colour. Really, really pretty, this one. We've also got a double-sided pearlescent sheet of Blue Frost, and also a double-sided pearlescent sheet of Coral Luster as well. I think Coral Luster also came out in the Coral Skies colour trend, and the gorgeous Blue Frost as well. Really pretty, that one. They're gorgeous, those 2 colours. Then I won't show you the full sheet because it's just like a mirror, but this is a sheet of the Silver Chrome mirror card, so the really, really shiny reflective mirror card. And then we've also got another sheet of Satin mirror card, which is the Smooth Mint colour, so a gorgeous subtle green tone. Goes really nicely with the Silky Sky actually. It's a much subtler kind of colour, but still goes really nicely together, and also pairs nicely with that Blue Frost colour too. So really pretty selection of cardstock in this month's kit. And then we have got the stamps and dies. Oh, and this is the little leaflet in here that tells you about the free gift. So while stocks last, you're automatically going to be added one of these packets of card blanks and envelopes into your kit until the 18th of September. So if you order this month's kit, you should get your packet of cards and envelopes, provided they don't run out. But I presume they have enough to last the majority of the kits that would be bought throughout the month as well. And then on the other side, I was like, oh, it's one of my cards. It actually says created by Christine Smith. That's one of the cards I made with the stamp club that was called a Bug Deal, I think. I really enjoyed that card. I did a tutorial on that, so if you like the look of that card, there is a tutorial video. Oh, it says there, a really bug deal. Yeah, if you like the look of that card, there's a tutorial video of exactly how I created that. So you've got that little leaflet in the kit. Then we have got the sticker, which says Marshmallow Hugs, and it's got the gorgeous little mug on there with marshmallows inside it and a little marshmallow frame as well. And then we have got the dies and stamps. I didn't actually use the stamps this month. I feel like I just forgot about them. I was just focusing so much on the gorgeous cardstock and die cutting that I just totally forgot about the stamps. But you have Sending a Latte Love, Marshmallow Hugs, and also this gorgeous cup here as well, the sort of like patterned design to go on the cup that would look fantastic in heat embossing or just stamping and colouring with your alcohol pens or your coloured pencils or watercolour pencils or something as well. And as we walk through the die set, I will show you the dies that coordinate with those too. So for this month's die set for the craft kit, we have got all of these gorgeous elements on here to create a gorgeous hot chocolate mug, or it could be a tea mug, a coffee mug. It can, as I was saying earlier, could be a planter. You could have a gorgeous floral bouquet coming out of there. You could turn it into a succulent terrarium or pot for a succulent. Maybe you've got some foliage dies that really look like parts of a succulent. Maybe you could turn the ellipsis of the liquid that you can put inside the cup into like leafy portions, perhaps folding some of them over in odd angles and stuff and turning it into some kind of leafy thing. And you've also got this gorgeous whipped cream piece that obviously sits perfectly on top of the cup to be the whipped cream on top of a hot chocolate, but you can also turn that into a cupcake as well and have it as the gorgeous swirly icing on the top of a cupcake too. So I'd say the main die in this kit is the gorgeous cup, and I really like the way they've done this month. So you know, I've said before, like, I like how if they've already put a cutting edge on the edge of a patterned panel, because the pattern then goes further out onto the actual die cut. Well, they haven't done that this month, but they have given us this extra piece that actually helps you to create a three-dimensional mug. But because they've given you this extra piece, this is much larger than if they had put the panel inside the cup in the die set. So you can see you can't cut both of them together, and it would give a tiny skinny little border, whereas normally a decorative panel to go on the die cut would give a much wider border around the edge. But because they have given us this extra piece, they've then given us larger patterned panels, which I absolutely love. I think this is fantastic. So we've got the main outside die, which does coordinate with that gorgeous stamped pattern as well. You could either stamp that straight onto the mug, or you can stamp it onto the extra panel and layer it up. And then you also have two different designs to go inside this. So you've got a beautiful one. I don't know if you can see them straight away. There's two horses on here, or because this is kind of Christmassy, wintry kind of themed, I guess they could be reindeer as well, because they've kind of got a swirl coming out here which could be a fancy antler, but if you'd kind of ignore that, it does just look like it could be a horse. And then you've also got some little birds hiding in here as well, and some gorgeous swirly foliage and a lovely flower coming up the middle as well. So this could be Christmassy, or it could just be a horse themed one. You could even maybe draw a little sparkly unicorn horn onto that as well and turn them into little unicorns too. So really gorgeous patterned panel there. And then we also have the gorgeous snowflake patterned panel too. So really lovely snowflake design, and they're all sort of linked together by the ends of the snowflakes as well, which is really, really nice. Kind of gives like a latticey kind of design. When you're adding your glue to it, you realise that there's like straight up and down lines and diagonals across. but really, really gorgeous, delicate, intricate kind of design. And again, because they've given us this extra die to turn it into 3D, the pattern covers more of the die, which is really lovely. So you've got a much larger patterned panel than you normally would have for one of these kind of dies that Tonic would do. So, as well as that, you have this die here, which, as I was saying just now, allows you to create a three-dimensional mug. If you've seen some of their die sets before, they've done a champagne bottle, and I feel like they did a wine bottle as well, and also I think the milk churn, or there was a tiny milk churn in a bouquet kind of die set recently, had a die like this. And the idea is you put your mug onto here, but then you use these tabs to attach it to the card, and you can bow this outwards. So I'll quickly show you the card that I've done that on to show you what I mean, but you can bow this outwards to create some depth in there. So you could roll up a note and put it in there, or you could roll up a money note and put it in there, or you could put coins in there, you could put a tea bag in there, you could put a hot chocolate sachet in there. One of those tall skinny hot chocolate sachets would fit, or coffee sachets, and you could have that as actually part of the front of the card by using this die. Obviously this then means you're probably going to have to post it with a large stamp, or put it inside a box to give to somebody, or hand give it to somebody. But you've actually got the ability to use this die and the tabs on that to turn it into a three-dimensional kind of mug. And also on the mug die itself, it has two little score lines where the handle attaches to the mug, and that just allows you to be able to stick the handle down flatly and then have the mug curving out as well. So it's a really clever design, and I feel like this works really, really well because they've done this separately to the mug die. I think in the past they've done this kind of die around the actual die that it works for, and then sometimes you can see too much of this and it looks a bit funny. But with this, because this die is separate to the mug die, again, there's not much showing around the edge, so it really sort of blends in nicely and allows you to create that three-dimensional feature, and I really like that. So I enjoyed using this die on this set as well, and this is actually the technique that I'm hopefully going to be showing in the tutorial video tomorrow. I haven't filmed it yet, but hopefully that kind of technique is what I'm going to be showing you how to create. So that's that die. Then you also have the drippy cream that fits perfectly on the mug, so you can have all of this gorgeous drippy goodness coming down the mug. You could do like a before and after and have like the gorgeous cream on the outside of the card and then all of the drippy cream on the inside of the card where it's all melted, and you could have marshmallows falling off the cream as well. But I just adore any drippy kind of dies. We've had drippy ones in the Ice Lolly kit that came out a while back. When the Sweet Sorbet, when the Sweet Sorbet colour trend launched in a kit, there was gorgeous ice lollies with drippy effects on. I feel like there was another one as well, perhaps the Pot of Happiness showcase had a drippy effect on it too, and we've also had like drippy snow effects and stuff, but absolutely adore this kind of drippy die. You could turn this into Halloween as well, and I do have a project that I have turned into Halloween, because when I cut this and some of the other dies together, I saw Frankenstein's monster, so I've created a project like that too. But that is the gorgeous drippy cream die. Then we've got the gorgeous whipped cream, or icing, depending if you're turning it into a cupcake or not, and you have the outside edge and then you have the interior detail as well, so you can cut a backing solid piece to go behind it, and you can put the detailed outline over the top, or you can place the pieces from the outline on top of the solid one as well, depending what look you're going for, how you want it to look three-dimensional, whether you want to just 2D it and stick the outline on the solid one onto your card as well. So you've got that. You've also got a gorgeous spoon and one of those other die sets that I was talking about. Or you also have that three-dimensional coffee cup as well. You could use some of the elements from this with that too. Maybe put the drippy around the edge of the 3D coffee cup. I just remembered that. But one of those other sets I was talking about had a spoon in as well. So now you've got a different spoon. Possibly the other spoon was facing the other direction. Or it was a daintier spoon, I think. I can't 100% remember, but I'm sure a lot of you who have those die sets in your stash will know exactly what's in them and remember what they look like. But you have this gorgeous debossing detail on the spoon to kind of give a little bit of dimension to it, or to kind of signify this is like the outside lip of the spoon, and then that's where the sugar or whatever would be in the spoon. And you've also got some debossed detail on the end of the spoon as well, on the handle. Then we also have this piece here, which is actually like kind of like a decorative piece that could be part of the mug, or it could be like one of those sleeves for a takeaway cup, although this is a real sort of cup rather than a takeaway cup, but it's that kind of sort of element that you can add onto your cup or your mug. And you can put this like so. Kind of reminds me of the RAF actually, that kind of shape, but you can put it onto your mug like this. And then you also have in here these two little pieces, which you might have wondered what they are, but you have two of them because they go either side on here, and you can actually place them on there and add an extra colour into there and give it more of a stripy kind of look to that little decorative piece there as well. And then to go with that decorative piece, you also have circle sentiments. So this one you'll have to cut separately. You'll have to cut this piece first and then put the sentiment in the centre. But this one says warm winter wishes, which looks really lovely. And then this one will fit inside there and you can cut them at the same time. And this one says sending warm hugs. And then if you also wanted to, you could put the sending a latte love in the centre of there if you stamp that onto there as well. And then maybe you could have the mug actually stamped with the pattern behind it too. Then if you want to turn this into maybe not quite so much of a decorated mug, or maybe you're using that decoration on the mug, you've actually got the ellipsis of the hot drink that you can put inside here as well, or just the opening of the top of the mug. If you want to give it a bit of perspective, you've actually got that piece there that you could cut and stick on afterwards, or you could die cut the cup and then cut this out to actually give you a place to like poke something inside of it as well if you wanted to. So rather than doing the three-dimensional domed piece with the other die, you could cut that ellipsis out and actually place something inside of the cup. Maybe use foam tape, a tiny bit of foam tape around the edges here, and you'd have a little bit of space to tuck something into there as well. So you could do that too. And then you also have marshmallows. I love these. Obviously the kit is called Marshmallow Hugs, and you're actually getting in here the two solid marshmallows, which could definitely just be used by themselves. Maybe use some expanding mousse on them and make them look fluffy and marshmallowy. Or you have the outsides here too, which you can die cut and then stick over the top to give them a little bit more detail, and it looks really lovely, just white on white, looks fantastic. Or if you had some of the sugar crystal cardstock from Tonic, or any of the pearlescent white cardstock, they'd look fantastic cut from that as well. So you've got gorgeous little marshmallows. And then the final three dies are enabling you to create a wispy kind of effect coming out of the top of the mug. So you've got this piece that can be a gorgeous little wisp of steam coming out, and then all these can also be little swirls of steam as well. And as always, I love it when they give you two in the different directions, because you can turn it into a little heart if you want to as well. And you could use that sending a latte love and have the little heart coming out the top of the latte too. So loads of different elements in here that work perfectly by themselves. If this is the first coffee mug hot chocolate kind of themed die set you've ever got, everything in here works perfectly by itself, but you can also combine it with just other generic die sets to turn them into like little planters and things, or you could combine them with some of the other coffee, tea, hot chocolate themed dies or stamps or three-dimensional dies that Tonic's brought out over the years as well. So I'll put all of these away and then I'll show you my samples. So I've got 3 cards and 4 tags to show you, and I'm going to show you my Halloweeny tag first, because I don't know about you, but when I cut all of these pieces, I was just cutting a bunch of the steam pieces and the cream pieces from white, and the way I had arranged them, I just could not help but see Frankenstein's monster, like just with his quirky eyes and stuff. So I just had to turn the mug into Frankenstein's monster. So I cut one out of green, gave him the black hair, I snipped off parts of the swirl so they weren't quite so sort of steam swirly, they're more just like swirly eyes, and I snipped off part of the main steam part, and I'd cut it from red. And then I just drew a little scar on there, added a bit of shading with an alcohol pen, and then hand cut some little bolts to come out of his neck. And then I put the spoon inside as well. And doesn't it just look so cute? You can have like a gorgeous little Halloween tag. So I'm sure there's so many other ways of turning these into different characters as well. Maybe if you had some of the what are they called, dressables? Something like that, where you had the little characters and all of the different outfits and stuff. Maybe you could put a hat on the corner of one and turn it into someone else, or some of the original sort of dressables ones. I'm sure there was a pirate's hat and things like that. You could turn them into all sorts of different characters just by using other bits and pieces from your stash, or perhaps you're using elements that aren't even supposed to be what you're using them as. For example, that drip of creamy stuff looks like his hair, but it's not supposed to be hair, it's supposed to be a drip of sort of cream. So, you know, go through your stash, see what you can find to turn them into different characters as well. But I just had to share that one, I thought it was so cute. It's just a cool different way of using this little cup. So that's how I discovered that you could turn the cup into Frankenstein's monster, because of just the random way that I had placed those dies onto the piece of card to cut them out. And I just thought, that just looks so much like a little monster. I'm going to have to turn it into that. And then for the rest of the samples, I've done kind of like a card with a matching or coordinating tag that goes with it, because I thought this size is perfect for a gift tag. And all I've done to turn them into gift tags, I've done the top one decorated and all pretty, and then I've done the back one just from white, so you can just write on the back of the back one, and then someone could still keep the front part if they wanted to and discard the back piece. Or, you know, discard the back piece and then reuse the tag for somebody else as well. And I've also just used some of the 3mm ribbon that I got in my kit to create a little tag for the gift tag too. So whatever kind of ribbon you have, you can definitely utilise it. I've shown before how you can cut the wider ribbons. It does obviously fray because you're cutting down the ribbon, down the length of the ribbon, but you can do that if you want to. If you don't mind a frayed kind of effect, you could definitely do that to make your ribbon go further as well, or just to make it thinner too. So that's the first little gift tag, just really simply using the Silky Sky, the Arctic Blue, and then the bright white as well, just layering them together. I'll show you the tags first, I think. Then this one I went for the green tones, and you can see how if you put this decorative element on here, it allows you to put the ellipsis of the cup in there as well. I've stuck that on top, but as I said before, you can cut it into it as well to make it look more kind of like realistic, because obviously the liquid wouldn't be further out than the actual cup itself. The cup would be in front of the liquid, so if you cut it into the die, it would give more of a real kind of look to it. And I've done the warm winter wishes on this one. I've used the gorgeous smooth mint and the chrome silver, and then some of the frost blue pearlescent cardstock on here as well, and use those little extra pieces. Again, I've put another white one on the back and then put a little bit of the ribbon on there. And for the pink one, it is almost the same as the blue one, but I have put the other pattern on this one, and you can see those horses in there, or reindeer, and there's a little bird hiding under there as well. So gorgeous little patterns they are, and this kind of covers up the flower, so again it makes it look a little bit more wintry if you cover up the little flower on there. But also with the snowflake one, you could snip this snowflake out the centre. You could just put scraps of cardstock over that middle portion of this decorative panel and snip those snowflakes out and use them for a different project as well. So lots of different ways of using them, but that's just 3 tags with the 3 different colourways, so you can make some gorgeous little gift tags for your presents. And then these are the cards that I have created. So this one is probably going to be the tutorial card. I don't know whether I'm actually going to show you start to finish how to create the card, or maybe just focus more on the effect that I've used here. But this is actually cutting one of the die cuts from white, sticking it back onto white card, and then scraping through some mousse and glimmer paste to the same level as the white die cut. And then once it was dry, placing the blue die cut over the top, and it gives this kind of grouted effect. It works really nicely with expanding mousse as well, because you can heat the expanding mousse and it puffs up between the areas, but I wanted to give it a go just with normal embellishment mousse and the glimmer paste, and I think it works really nicely. So I think that is what the tutorial will be if you want to see how to do that. And I might play around with putting the dies in different places to create different patterns as well. So stay tuned for that for tomorrow if you want to see how to do that. And then the background is literally just taking the mousse, spreading it over the background with a media spatula, taking some of the glimmer paste and spreading it through the middle section. And then I've just added all the swirly bits coming up from the top, and I've used the sending warm hugs as the sentiment, and I've put the spoon inside. So this is the three-dimensional piece underneath the mug, and then I've just put the spoon inside, but you can still put something else inside the mug as well. So really simple card. Then this one is where I have also created a cupcake. So I was going to put the cream on the top of this mug, but then I decided I wanted to show you how you can create the drippy cream kind of effect with the white Nuvo drops, and I didn't want it to detract having the cream on top, and I also wanted to show the hearts of the swirls on there as well. So I decided to use the cream and make my own cupcake case. So I literally just cut a sloping sided kind of a shape, made it slightly wiggly and curvy across the bottom, and then used my guillotine to cut some smooth mint into thin strips, and then I just stuck them onto it and turned it into a little cupcake case. Then for the drips, I added the white one over the top, and then I went over with my Nuvo drops once it was all stuck together. I didn't go right to the edges because I knew I'd probably get quite messy doing that and I'd go off the edges. I just sort of coloured within like the lines of the outside of the die cut to give it a little bit more sort of dimension. And that works really, really nicely. But then the drips kind of hide the sentiment that I'd put on the mug, so I also cut another sentiment out and sort of tucked it into the cupcake, so it kind of looks like it's a biscuit poked into the cupcake, or a cookie or something, sort of like an Oreo maybe, poked into the cupcake. And I've also used the wisp from the steam as kind of like a random piece of icing coming around the cupcake as well. And I've also put some of the marshmallows on the cupcake too, and tucked another one down here. And I've used a few of the Simply White Nuvo drops on the cupcake too. And then the background is literally just the glimmer paste just spread across the background. This card is slightly bigger than my usual style of card, and so is the next one as well. So the white panel is my usual white panel, but then I've matted it onto a little bit more of the smooth mint and made it a slightly bigger card, just to sort of compensate for the little things that are kind of hanging over the edges a little bit. And because my cards are shorter, this will still fit in an A6 envelope, because I make my cards a little bit smaller anyway, so it should still fit in an A6 envelope. So that is the sort of green card, which has the green one that kind of matches with it or coordinates with it. And then the final one is this gorgeous coral version, where you can see those gorgeous horses and the little birds in the pattern on here. I also tried to be a little bit experimental with how I added some of the Nuvo products to the cream. So I just, I think I used my finger to wipe on some of the white, and then I put some of the glimmer paste over the top. I did the same kind of thing for the background of the card as well. I squished out some white and some glimmer paste, put some dots of white, and I added dots of white to the cream on here as well. I've just layered up the coral onto the coral. I've added the gorgeous spoon in the foreground and put some of the marshmallows on there as well. And then for the sentiment, I've kind of done that thing where I've sort of like tucked it as if it's like a biscuit in the cream or something, that says sending warm hugs. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video looking at Tonic Craft Kit number 71, which is called Marshmallow Hugs. And I hope you enjoyed like the quirky idea of Frankenstein's monster as a mug, and some of the ways I've kind of used the Nuvo on the different areas of the project as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!